So I am relatively new in my position as Assistant Secretary of State for European and Eurasian Affairs, and it was very important to me to make a trip to Turkey as early in my tenure as I could. And that reflects the fact that Turkey is such a long-standing and valued NATO partner. We share so many common interests, and there is so much we can do together. So I was eager to get to Ankara and start those conversations in person. One of the reasons the timing of my visit is auspicious is the fact that our two presidents, President Biden and President Erdogan, just had the opportunity to meet in person in Rome on the margins of the G20. And that conversation led both to agree that we should deepen our dialogue on the many issues where we can work effectively together. So most of my conversations at the Foreign Ministry focused on that topic of how it is that we can fill out that conversation the two presidents had with a concrete proposal. And I'm very much looking forward on continuing that discussion. There certainly will be continued opportunities, but I think in the immediate term, just this week, there was a high-level defense group meeting in Washington. So I want to point out that this dialogue continues on a very regular basis between the U.S. and Turkey. And the next opportunity for that senior level dialogue will be at the NATO Foreign Ministerial, which will take place in late November, early December, and certainly our two foreign ministers will be working together in that NATO context on the very important agenda that unites us there. And we will be in the run-up to the next NATO summit, which will take place next June in Madrid, where the alliance will agree on a new strategic concept that really will set the strategic direction of NATO for the coming decade. And I think that provides a wonderful opportunity for the US and Turkey, together with all of our NATO allies, to think strategically about both the regional and global challenges that face us today. I am very sorry to hear that caused concern in Turkey, because I think deeper US engagement in any NATO ally is a good thing. And the US is equally interested in deepening our cooperation here in Turkey. Certainly, the purpose of my visit is to think together with our Turkish partners, how is it that the US and Turkey can work more closely? And I think the cooperation with Greece should be seen absolutely in that light. You'll remember that when President Biden came into office, he talked about America being back and the United States wanting to deepen our engagement with our key allies, reinvigorate our alliances and partnerships. And that is very much the spirit of what the US is doing with its Greek ally, and we are as committed to deepening our cooperation with Turkey. So let me start by saying that the United States and Turkey have a robust defense relationship that has many facets to it. And I referred just a couple of minutes ago to the high-level defense group meeting that happened this week in Washington, which covered a range of issues, including the two you mentioned. And I think the important thing here is that there is an ongoing process through which the United States and Turkey are working on these issues. And I am confident that working together, we will reach resolution. There are a lot of different pieces in the question that you just posed. And on Nord Stream 2, the legislation which the administration is responding to there carries a different acronym. It's called PISA, and I won't go into the details of that. Then you mentioned CATSA with regard to Turkey and the S-400s, and then CATSA in a potential context of a deal with India. On the India piece, there have been no decisions made about that, so I think it's important to be clear about that. But then also, the legislative requirements of CATSA are different with regard to an ally. So I think it's also important to understand that India and Turkey are treated differently in that legislation. So it's a complicated set of issues, But just to repeat that there's no decision on India, and I think we shouldn't put India and Turkey in the same basket when we think about CATSA. And the fact that Turkey is a NATO ally of the United States and the legislative implications of that are important to remember in that context. The United States welcomes Turkey's interest in the F-16s and purchasing more. And I know that there's a delegation going shortly to Washington to continue the conversation on this. And we will continue through this technical process to move this request forward.